Hello, Speed Gaming 2. Welcome to the final race from the War for Hyrule. This has been a 10-week event where two factions have fought for control of territory, and this is the final territory of Ganons Forces, which means Hyrule Guard is in position to take this by territory acquisition if they win this race. However, if they don't win this race, they will be very likely to take it just by points alone, unless Ganons Forces can pull through.
You say very likely, like it's going to make that much of a difference. Hi,
Yeah.
Melmo.
Hello.
Melmo is Hyrule Guard. I am Ganons Forces. Let's do it. Let's have fun. Let's introduce the runners, shall we? What do we got for your side?
PlasmaKappa, who is, I think, one of our perfect attendance runners for the Hyrule Guard.
One of them on your team, the other one being Dixon, who's been, if not every single one, they've been in like 90% of these races. On the right, a newcomer to the Ganons Forces, Windblown Leaf. So, what do you think? How do you think the seed's going to progress?
Well, this is ADKeys. It's not my most. It's not a mode I'm very experienced with. My understanding of all dungeons, key sanity, is that you have to do everything. Sometimes you have to double dip dungeons, and people don't really skip things in this mode. I think people just do whatever they can, and they try to do it as efficiently as possible.
Yeah, so this mode kind of comes down to how efficiently you can clear things together, and sometimes there will be gambles to have to make. Like, for instance, we just saw Windblown Leaf end up getting the 4 bombs off the tree, so we're likely to see them go into Hyrule Castle, which is partially out of logic. We get the shovel from the uncle, which is always fun as we sync up the runners. But this really comes down to a lot of this is efficiency as well as execution. And oh, did you see what was there?
No, but
That's the magic powder.
Okay.
That's the magic powder there on the lumberjack. Gotta love a stressful fetch quest on the
Kind of.
lumberjack. I mean, we
So-
have to do all the dungeons, but that is still a stressful item.
I consider required lumberjack to be a blessing in all dungeons because you don't have to worry about the small key in Ganon's Tower for Castle Tower, which is like the ultimate, like, you don't get to go mode anything item. If you have an Agasteed, the game tends to telegraph it really well by giving you the keys, and also you usually get to go mode Ganon's Tower at least.
So we just got a fire rod for PlasmaKappa, which means what Leaf is doing right now is technically in logic, at least for PlasmaKappa's side. Leaf doesn't know it at this point in time, so if this turns out to be something progressive, it may not necessarily just mean a big skip here for Leaf. It may just be like the next step in the progressive chain. Although Leaf's not necessarily in the best spot right now. Yep.
Ooh. Those snakes are really difficult to deal with.
They're very dangerous with only 3 hearts, because 6 hits from them, you're dead.
The problem is like there's always one near the chest. It's really hard to get to the chest with normalized movement when there's something hitting you around. If you don't have any way to defend yourself, it can be really difficult to actually get the chest, even if you don't die.
Like, you go through Dark Cross, and when you get into that room, well, first of all, you have to deal with the RNG in the room that's before it there, which could definitely devastate you. But on top of that, when you wind up going through the room leading up to the chest, there's always those 2 ropes side by side on that narrow passage heading to where you turn right to head to the chest. So Leaf now going to turn around and he's going to head over here. One way this can work out for Leaf is if there's something good at the dig spot here.
Yeah, that's true. They'll have an opportunity to grab that after Maze Race. Also nice to see both rods early.
Oh, yeah. Especially considering the fact that I know I was teasing with... Oh, it was just in the main channel there about how we could be digging for an ice rod in GT if we have a pendant turtle rock. That's not going to be the case here.
The fewer ice rods in the sea, the less likely there is to be like a pendant dungeon requirement in GT. However,
Mhm.
Keysanity does introduce several ice rods of its own, mostly in the form of big
Yep.
keys, occasional small keys, but
Also,
mostly
the
big
castle
keys.
tower keys.
Yep. That's why we want Magic Bat required in this one.
Yeah. Because there's no better feeling than digging through 27 chests of Ganon's Tower trying to hope you get lucky with Agate Tower 2.
Best case scenario, in my opinion, is you get the mushroom and you get to fake powder and you find something required. So you know that Agate Tower is in logic, but you don't have to do it until you're ready.
In the
That would
library.
be the dream.
Yeah, it would be.
Maze race, you always check this blind in Keysanity. Usually it's a key. You can't really
Yeah.
skip those.
Yeah, with the keys and the big keys in the pool, it has a lot more value, and if it turns out to be a map, then it will maybe give you some more of that information. Yeah, of course we need to do all the dungeons, but what 7 do we need to do? Hey, 300 rupees, you're not gonna scream about that.
A little tip to Leaf and to everyone watching. When you're in the back of Blind's Hideout or Cackwell, and you're in that little space with the 2 rows of pots in a chest, you should go up the right side because you don't have to adjust your cardinal position to open the chest. It's a little bit faster and a little bit more efficient.
I never really thought of that. I always just walked up the right side just for the heck of it, but that's actually good to know.
Always free the chickens.
This is free the chicken %, correct? Hey, PlasmaKappa going up against the mini Moldorms. So, as you were pointing out earlier, right now it is looking very strong for the Hyrule Guard to wind up winning this event. Your team has, as we find a glove here in Mini Moldorm Cave, your team's kind of been coming back from behind point-wise. And what was it, like a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, that you surpassed us point-wise?
Yeah, there was a week where we just showed up to everything in large enough numbers.
And then there was a week that we showed up to nothing, and as a result, things wound up getting the way that they were. But I mean, it's been a fun event. You've had fun, right?
Yes, I have joined far more races than I expected to, and I was, you know, I'm a glitch player. Like, none of these modes are glitch modes, so I didn't think I would actually join any of them. I had just done the Cross Keys Mentor tournament, so I thought, well, I'll do the Cross Keys and the Veterans, and then I also managed to push one of my own invented modes called Boss Hunt, and I'm like, okay, I should do the Boss Hunt too because it's my mode. I ended up doing like half of the races, I think, in some
What?
form, either as a crew or as a racer.
Yeah. I know you definitely have helped out a lot on these race streams as well as we find the lamp as well. I guess we'll go ahead and talk about our thoughts about the event a little bit further when we actually get into go mode. Talk about like things that we felt that were good about the event, things like the modes and whatnot. But will definitely have a feedback form for the people who did partake in this event once we get done with things after this race today. Here's the shovel
Ooh,
check
spicy.
for Leaf.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a required key. Desert Palace.
Yeah, that was a fun key to find. We don't have the book to get into. Oh,
Oh, hook shot.
Agina with the hook shot. I
Well,
think I know where PlasmaKappa is going next.
yep, mountains in logic. Completely in logic up to East Death Mountain. Not to the top, though. But very likely that something's going to be up there. Game
Okay,
gives you a lamp and a glove.
we know where Kappa's going next after this. Check the back 3 of Escape, then you're going up the mountain.
I have a rule that when you get the glove, you should just do this next, unless you have a good reason not to.
I have a good reason. I don't want to.
It's 3 free items.
I know, which is why it usually burns me if it turns
Oh.
out, hey, there's one of our Agate Tower keys.
Always a relief.
You feel a little bit better about that. Now you need Aga 2 to show up. So you've mentioned you haven't really played a lot of this kind of mode before, but you've played Key Sanity modes before, right? You mentioned you played Cross Keys with the Mentor tournament.
Yeah, No Logic is
What
also a Key Sanity mode.
What is the worst thing to see in a key-based mode? Key in the dungeon or key not in the dungeon?
The small key of Swamp Palace Vanilla.
Yeah, that's not fun. Some of my favorite words are often, this is the small key to this dungeon.
Mm-hmm. Castle Tower Vanilla is pretty bad too.
Oh,
if you have
there's a
one, then
sword.
you'll probably go in and find the other one just because you're checking them. But if that's your go mode, you're probably not looking in there.
Yeah, you're looking everywhere else. Because why would Castle Tower 2 be at Castle Tower 2?
Love to see a common enemy dropping the fairy pack.
Mm-hmm. We do see a small key up on Spectacle Rock. Obviously, no mirror, so we can check that at this point.
Nope. Plasma will be doing the expected thing, which is taking the hook shot across East Death Mountain, hoping that a hammer turns up on the way.
Either that or the mitts. Because mitts open up 6 more items. Well, no, we don't have the Moon Pearl.
What? 2 more items. But nobody does that, right? Super Bunny Cave's not really in the meta to do without Pearl.
It's a harder move to make in this mode here because, as we've mentioned before, this mode kind of rewards.
Oh,
well, there's the Moon Pearl.
Never mind.
This mode rewards how fast or how well you can full clear.
Yeah, and you don't want to orphan Hookshot Cave, so you probably are saving Super Bunny Cave until it's in Logic, for that reason alone. Which Moldorm dropped the fairy?
I forget which one did.
I guess we'll find out if PlasmaKappa's bomb jump succeeds or fails. This is a heck of a Moldorm cave. Paradox. It's 2 canes and a flute.
Choosing not to do Spiral Cave.
No spiral, wow. Maybe Plasma knew which Moldorm dropped the fairy and knew he wouldn't be able to bomb jump.
So, explain that to me. How does that affect your fairy drop? Is it something to do with the positioning?
If there's a specific enemy in that room that is in the sprite slot that affects your bomb trajectory. And if it drops a fairy or it drops an item and you collect it midair, you won't be able to do the bomb jump out of Paradox Cave without at least falling first and resetting the room.
It's interesting how much of this game... I mean, I know a lot of people mention about how because certain things are broken, that the game is broken, but it's also interesting how many layers get coded in this thing, too.
There's something about assembly code where everything's done by hand. Things don't follow consistent rules all the time.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of things are bespoke.
And obviously, you know a lot more about that with the fact that you're more of the glitchy and no logic type of modes.
Yeah, you do pick that up. Leaf is heading to Zora, but they won't be able to get Waterfall without the Moon Pearl.
Yeah.
And they know this. Nope, they don't know this. We'll see. They'll go in here and exit and go back in and still be swimming, which will be disappointing. Oh, yep, yeah, still swimming.
It might be just one of those cases where they're like so used to being in you know, the muscle memory is what I'm
used to being in water walk state, I think. If you're playing glitch modes, you're doing it with the boots.
So did Kappa choose not to talk to Sahaswala?
It's AD.
Right, but it
You
could
get like three text boxes. I can understand why you wouldn't talk to Saha.
right. It's just more interesting the fact that they chose not to, because to me that's like important information. What is your 5-6 and what's your green pendant?
I did get completely screwed in a boss hunt race where not tracking the green pendant got me stuck. I didn't actually know how to progress. I had written off one of the dungeons as well. It's just a Triforce piece on the boss, and it turns out it was the green pendant, and it was progression. So even in
Ew.
modes where you don't care about prizes, it can matter.
What was on green pendant?
Oh, I think it was mitts. It was like hard required,
Oh,
and it was the only thing
yeah,
left.
that's
It was
unfortunate.
not my best performance in War for Hyrule. Okay, we got Back of Escape as predicted, and then probably Mountain. What does this flute mean anyway? We've already been to the mountain. We don't have the mitts yet. So at the moment, it's just extra mobility.
I'm just waiting for the mitts to show up now that you brought that up.
I do expect the mitts to be the next progression item.
Yeah, because that would open up the door to the, of course, the Meyer area. Can't do a whole lot over there, but it would give us at least 2 items.
If the mirror also shows up, then that big key of desert that Leaf has could also come into play. Oh, Leaf is taking another stab at, what was that, big key of this dungeon or something?
Big key of this dungeon.
Love it.
Thank you, Eastern.
Should have gone in with the bow. I think we no longer have to think about whether Ice Palace is like hookshot locked or cane locked anymore. We have it all. We have one key. But by the time we have access to ice by logic, it probably won't matter. But there was an Ice Palace small key there in Eastern Big Chest.
All right,
Just a
so
shield.
yeah, unfortunately, Leaf having to walk back there, finding out that that is just a shield, that feels really bad. It's one thing that if you get it the first time and it's the shield, it's what it is. But when you die and then you find out that it was something that you could have gone without, that feels really, really bad. And oh, we're farming money.
Oh, for like
I was
pod?
wondering what Kappa was up to, but we're gonna grab the 90 back here next to the
Oh,
key.
Okay, not for Leaf, for Kappa. Interesting.
Yeah,
What else is in logic for Kappa? I mean, that's a good point. Is like I think actually very little is left. They will at least be able to sequence break the items in the waterfall on the way to
yeah.
Zora, but I don't think Leaf found anything there that mattered.
As
So
far as Zora was absolutely nothing. So we're definitely going to be able to get the Zora play right now as we speak. What Leaf is doing right now is out of logic because we don't have the Hyrule Castle small.
that's a good point. So what is left?
Oh, let me think. Hmm.
We can't
We've
quite
already...
get into Castle Tower yet.
Nope, we are missing either another sword
Spiral.
or the cape.
It's Spiral Cave.
Oh,
Oh
right,
boy.
yes.
Okay.
That cave that PlasmaKappa skipped out on.
Well, I don't expect Leaf to skip it after doing that much. Well, that's an interesting
Oh!
sequence
Oh,
break.
my.
Bottle and bow from, uh, just being an Eastern and getting the bow as your next item. I don't imagine Plasma's sword slashes were, ooh, I found something good here. I think they were like,
Why
oh,
did you give
come
me
on,
this in
dude.
this order?
Yeah, exactly. I wrong ordered this so hard. And
Hmm.
Leaf will feel even worse, I think, because like they tried to get that and couldn't.
Yep. I think right now in Leaf's case, not going to Agina is really hurting them. All right, Hera is our green pendant.
Oh yeah, I forgot that Leaf doesn't have any like incentive to go to the mountain because of Agina's cave.
Yep.
They will really just have to hoof it there because I don't think anything will be found that will make it. I mean, there's nothing left for Leaf. We've already seen what we've seen, and the flute is the one thing that would make it easy, and that's on the mountain.
Yep. And unfortunately, it's beyond the hook shot.
But the upside is that PlasmaKappa will probably last location the Spiral Cave item, and Leaf will not. Unless they last location the hook shot, in which case then they will technically also last location Spiral Cave.
Yeah, I think in this case with Leaf, I don't see there being a world where Leaf doesn't make Agina the last stop that's in logic for them. So therefore, when they get up to the mountain, Spiral Cave is going to be the last destination after they get the 7 out of Spectacle Rock. Not Spectacle Rock, Paradox Cave.
Flippers for Bow and Waterfall, that's a really good point. Or for Sick Kid. That's a pretty quick check for PlasmaKappa.
Especially since we had the flute. And that flute is going to be a big deal here for Kappa, considering the fact that that's going to allow mobility movement a lot faster than what Leaf's going to have. And the flute, honestly, being where it is just unfortunate because you want to go to Agina by Flute 6.
The one blessing for Leaf is that they will get bottlenecked into Agina pretty soon. I think the last thing they can do is climb the mountain and just do like the first 2 checks there. Which are always going to be their own check anyway.
Right, and that's not going to be that big of a deal for Leaf when they choose to do that because you're just going to start at the old man again once you get the hook shot and head right as opposed to just trying to walk off the Spectacle Rock area of the mountain.
PlasmaKappa setting up a Death Warp for the Dark Cross checks.
Yep, which means Kappa will get the Fireball Shield coming up here in just a few. And at this point in time, you kind of feel bad about your options. It always feels bad, no matter what mode you play in, when you start to get into, I'm about to last locate something. Where the heck is it? So, Malmo, what do you think is that Spiral Cave?
I think it's the hammer for like top of the Death Mountain. And the mitts are there. Maybe in the front of Hera. Maybe in Hera basement.
Could be.
Oh no, we don't have the key. But mitts are a little bit more likely. Mitts open up a lot more. The other option is that it could just be the second castle tower key. Is also up there. Like it could be the hammer. You do need 2 things. You need something to get into Castle Tower, and then you need the second key.
You're right.
But it could still be your Dark World access, which is fine. It's all dungeons. We want to have an early Aga. That's an interesting getting off of the flute and then bumping into that enemy while having iframes. Never seen that before. It's true. It could just be there. If you get one cape or one sword, then you could go in and find the key, or find the Dark World access inside Castle Tower. Very good point.
This is a small key to this dungeon. The worst words ever. Hammer, of course, opens up this world because you've got Dark World. You can do Skull. You can go into Village of Outcast. You can't finish that dungeon off, but all right, here we go. Bottle Sick Kid. What does Sick Kid have for us?
Nothing.
Unimpressive.
It is out of logic. Do you think Kappa will just go back to Eastern?
Yep.
Yep. Might as well, right? The only way this gets faster is if you have the mirror at pod. I think Kappa thinks, oh, it must be flippers in Spiral Cave, and if it's not, then I am punished, but if it is, then I'm fine doing this and getting the flippers later.
Mm-hmm.
Flippers don't do anything until you're ready to go to Swamp.
And Leaf is going to be taking that unfortunate, painful walk to his last Spear 1 location.
The PlasmaKappa will be up a dungeon on Leaf.
Yep. And a lot of this has to do with just how the two have routed things.
Oh, is this our first time seeing that mushroom there?
That is. That's an interesting fetch quest.
Yeah, I would even wonder if, like, Leaf will probably be first to the Spiral Cave item, but they will also not have the bow, which will be pretty bad, and not have activated the flute. Unless it is just here at the Ice Armos, or sorry, the Armos fight, and you had to get the flippers from Spiral. Honestly, one of the better case scenarios for Leaf and for Plasma, for different reasons.
I agree.
Leaf will get to the bow faster that way, and Plasma will have not been punished too hard by Spiral Cave.
Yeah, because at this point, I think Leaf's mindset would be, I'm going to go to Waterfall Cave when I get the mirror after I check Catfish.
There could also just be another bow available. Could be Hype Cave, Mire Shed.
Mm-hmm. But knowing this game, it's probably in GT.
Almost.
Bombos.
That's not progression. Not yet.
Alright, so back up to Spiral Cave we go. Such a great cave it is. If only somebody had an emote about it. Alright.
Okay, Leaf got lucky with the fairy drop. It was not the wrong mold orb. Oh no, the dead rock. If only we had the magic powder.
Yeah, I never realized that regarding where the fairies spawn like that. Yeah, Kappa's been dealing with a world of pain here.
Kappa's gonna die on Death Mountain.
Yeah, gotta be careful. Those red Tektites do damage.
They do two hearts.
Do these dead rocks.
Okay, Spiral Cave, what is it? Everyone put your guesses in chat.
I think it's going to be the hammer. I mean, the only thing that it could be that we haven't stated yet would be either the mirror for Hera access or the boots.
Yeah.
Or the book!
Ah, it's desert.
Oh!
We're so close to being able to check Ether Tablet, but it's just not quite able to get there.
REAL... never mind. Really is what I was about to say.
Yeah, we managed to name every item that could be there except for the book. Nice job. Neither of us thought of it. We would think that the Desert Big Key would tip us off, but apparently not.
No, Because you want to get into desert via the mirror after you get the mitts, not the book. All
Leaf,
right.
Leaf will actually be later to desert than Plasma because Plasma has already activated Flute.
Yep.
I guess that mushroom could be turned in, and
Yes, it can be.
we could maybe try to hold on to it for Magic Bat.
Tough ask right now. Very tough ask because we've got only 3 items accessible to us. Well,
Yeah, there's
technically
the
3 items. 4
yeah,
because we can technically go to Lamola here. Lee's
not
gonna
in
go get the
logic,
bow now.
not in logic,
Yeah.
but we'll do it anyway because it's a dungeon. There it is.
Hammer,
Man.
there it is.
Plasma loves going up Death Mountain multiple times. It's everyone's favorite hobby. You probably don't
You
go
have
back there until you at least have some kind of logical Hera climb. Because now we have
yeah.
just Dark World access. You're going to do other things.
At least wait until you get the mitt so you can lump it together with something else.
Don't.
We're not even we're
PlasmaKappa?
not even gonna take the mushroom.
Okay.
I mean,
The
Hammer
mushroom and desert boss? I'm not going to do it? Okay. I mean, that's fine, but the mushroom's in logic. Desert boss I can understand.
right. The mushroom's in logic, but at this point in time, I think Kappa feels behind because of having to walk back to Spiral Cave. So probably this is I'm taking a gamble because my first gamble didn't pay out.
Oh, I didn't even notice. Leaf, while we weren't watching PlasmaKappa, Leaf went to Waterfall Ferry and got
Yep.
the bow and the bottle.
And
And is
also
trying
tried
to
to lift
get
up
get a rock. You
I
flew to
mean,
6, and that's your
you,
instinct, right?
you want to. You really, really want to.
That's part of the motion of fluting to 6, lifting up that rock. Same goes for like going to ice. When you
Yeah,
try to get
exactly.
like the bomb upgrade, but you just like lift the rock and go into the portal when you're not thinking, and you're like, oh shit, I didn't mean to go here. Well, Leaf has a chance to get a little advantage on PlasmaKappa by getting the mushroom and the boss here. Because one thing that's kind of unappealing about doing any Dark World here is that the dungeons in the Dark World are not really they're not really being telegraphed by the keys. Like we haven't found a single pod key. Like remarkably, like you would think we would have seen one pod key. No, we have not. We have not seen any keys for Thieves Town Big or any small skull keys to make the back of those dungeons in logic.
Hey, Malmo, we got archery game strats. Because we need rupees for the digging game.
The big game. Leaf has a lot for some reason. I don't know what
They
Plasma
hula
has
hand.
been. The hula hand. Commonly done in key sanity modes. Because you don't
Yeah, Leaf
expect to
is going to go.
find as many rupees in the early game.
Leaf is going to Lamola.
Let's go. This palette shuffle Leaf has on makes this dungeon look like Eastern Palace.
It does. Either that or that other dungeon that's in this part of town. Although usually Mystery Mire has that goop on the walls.
And Mire is more universally green. It's a green walls, green floor.
True, you're right.
Eastern's the Barney dungeon, purple and green. Nice.
That's the first time I've ever heard that.
Leaf with the meme hook. It's not actually faster, but you gotta love it. It's probably not that bad if you're bootsless. I think the actual thing you want to do is walk diagonally towards the pond, hookshot upward. Generally, diagonal walking beats out hookshotting. Oh, we got a ped check for Plasma before the portal Okay, blue mail could be a good safety.
And it is a crystal, so both runners are knotted at 1 apiece as far as the crystals are concerned. And on the pedestal,
We're gonna bug net the pedestal.
you're just buttering it up with the fillet. That's fine. I'm sure Gabachu approves somewhere.
Like leaf
Oh, here's our
will
fake powder.
fake powder before turning in the mushroom. Makes sense when you know where the powder is.
Leaf's in the No Logic tournament, right?
Yes.
All right, what are we getting for a sequence break on Magic Bat?
But the key.
Small key, Ice
Ice Palace.
Palace.
Well, we knew it
Kappa
wouldn't
just
be
got
castle.
one to GT.
Okay. You don't usually need more than one of those. I mean, you can climb with 0. You get the key in the pot and climb if you're in go mode. But you do want, I think, 2 if you're not in go mode.
Right. It's convenience keys. Whether it be GT or Ice Palace, or Meyer for that case. Some of it has to do with logic, but... Alright, just 20. So...
Ooh.
Kappa is not penalized, and there's the big to thieves.
Wow, right outside. Also, Kappa has 0 rupees. Just wanted to point that out.
Perfect spending.
Yeah, that's a tight budget. I wonder if we missed some like single rupee farming for the chess game. We also apparently have the map of this dungeon and it's a pendant.
Yeah, it was in Hype Cave. And so was the small key to Thieves Town. Which, the way that Leaf is going means he is going to not be going into Thieves Town with that small key. So that big chest is going to be rather interesting when Kappa comes up to it.
I am laughing because the Kappa has been trying to hookshot the pot that has the anti-fairy under it and the bunny beam.
Yeah,
And you usually can't.
You have to hit it at a very specific angle on the very
Yeah,
far
exactly.
side.
It's not worth going for unless you actually like know what you're doing, and I think even then it's not worth it. It's very tempting. You're walking around with hookshot out and you see a pot. Of course, you're going to try to hookshot it.
Well, the amount of nudging you have to do to get to it would defeat the time purposes, yeah. Let's go. We'll check here for Leaf. I don't think we saw this from Kappa. I think Kappa plans on going south to north here.
The problem with Skullwood's check for Leaf is that they have to steal this key if they want to be able to check everything and leave. So it makes for some... Well, also, actually, I think Leaf might just be doing the dungeon. Oh, but
Yeah,
if they do the dungeon, they can't do all the checks and leave because they're going to spend this key in the back. Unless a key shows up.
You've got a point, though.
So I'm with Kappa here. I think you do Thieves area first to avoid this situation, and to hope that you find a key.
We know Mothula will not have a key because Mothula is hard behind 3 keys.
Leaf.
Get that.
Leaf.
Yeah.
There we go.
It was just a little too far to the south, so did not get that torch. Thankfully, the timer did not run out. Oh, nice splashing.
Nice use of the prize packs, too. Getting these full magics. I think from 2 separate prize packs, too. I think the mummies are on the vanilla magic pack, and then there was maybe a Moldorm dropping the fairy pack. Also got a full magic.
Yeah, I think that was exactly what happened there, because that was the Moldorm he killed. Or they killed, rather.
Now they are going for hammer strats, despite having full magic, but showing that they don't need the magic to do this fight.
Yeah, 4 hammer hits and it's done, and it is a crystal. So leaf up 2 crystals
Nope.
as we find a sword upgrade next to blind.
What do you
Now
know
this
what
is
that
the big
means?
check. This is the big check coming up here, Malmo.
Yep. Well, I'm thinking about Castle Tower, because now we can get both chests in there. But yeah, this is the one that will matter. It's nice.
Oh,
Half magic's
it's
nice.
nice. Not required, but that's going to be something that Cap is going to have that Leaf's not going to have.
And Leaf will have that on the back of their mind. And probably never do it. Hopefully. Oh, flippers.
Hi, flippers. Okay, so that's how we're supposed to get the bow.
Yeah, this is the one of the few checks in Skullwoods that is actually in logic.
Isn't everything except for Moldorm, and not Moldorm, Mothula in logic?
Oh, you're probably right. Yeah, because you can fall in the holes.
The one thing we do have to remember is that this is all dungeons. So therefore, it's not entrance-based logic. So therefore, Pinball Room is not guaranteed to be a small. Desert's small.
Desert. Ooh. So maybe what Plasma was doing by leaving that behind was thinking, I don't want to warp in the desert small key checks by doing the thing that logically requires it. Because if that's like mitts, Leaf might never go back.
Until Force 2. Hey, there's a pod small. That's the first one we've seen.
The combination of one pod small and the one and like the bow does open up a lot of the front of pod. Oh, there's a big key on the ledge here, requiring the cape that we don't have.
Looking at the big keys that we have, it's probably the Swamp Big.
Could be pod, could be Meyer, GT.
True.
That could also be ice. Could be swamp.
Yeah, it could be a key that we don't really need.
Skull,
An
even
anxiety
Hera.
key.
Even Hera. Oh, ice was found by Plasma.
Yeah, big shout outs to our tracker, Arya Stark, for keeping up with what's going on these 2 screens. Another member of your Hyrulean Guard. I'm outnumbered here, friends.
Well, just fewer of us in the race, right?
If only, because I think you did some counting, and it looked like it was Hyrulean Guard who had a upper hand.
I did some eyeballing. I would not call that counting. Oh, is this a spiral cave check? Or not spiral cave. The one that's on this side of the mountain.
Spike.
Spike. It's almost spiral shaped.
Here comes the flippers for Kappa, which will put the bow in logic. Not that the bow led to anything here. Alright, Spike Cave. Hello!
It's the mitts!
That is an extraordinary find, and I have a feeling there's going to be some runners in this race out of the 30, who will last locate it.
That's a really good I'm feeling behind check for Leaf.
That's
Now-
I'm feeling pretty good right now. Result.
Well, yeah, exactly. So, of course, what do? You follow it immediately.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
I may have done like Meyer Shed first, but I understand the instinct to want to do Hookshot Cave, Turtle Rock, potentially all of it. Right? I think small keys are the only thing potentially preventing Leaf, if it is Quake, from actually getting in there.
Bombos was on the Armos, right?
Yeah, so that's in logic with the flippers.
Yep. So I'm thinking that if that is the case of what keeps Leaf out of here. But we are going to at least check Hera first.
Oh, that's right. The hammer made this available for a while.
Yep. Because we don't have a mirror, we don't want to do this, and then find out we have to take another painful walk up the mountain.
And you know what this is for Leaf? This is an opportunity to turn in the green pendant on the way to Eastern.
You know what, Melmo? You're right. Which I wasn't even thinking of.
Well, it's not in logic, but it's efficient.
Yeah. And that's what I've been saying earlier is some of the things that determine the people who come out ahead in this race comes down to how well you efficiently full clear. Mirror right there.
This trek was required. Okay, we got some Harry potting bread style.
Yeah, big shout outs to Brad Kuhn for coming up with that setup last year. That is a lot better than the old setups. All right, what is out of logic inside of this dungeon? Well, first of all, a compass to Mire. As Kappa will... I wonder if Kappa chooses to go to Pod soon.
With one key, one bow, and what, 0 rupees? Have we got rupees yet? We have 21. It's not enough.
Oh, right.
Oh, Kappa's
you're
gonna
right.
get the mitts. Maybe.
No.
Nope.
Flute
This
away.
is just a flute.
This is a finished desert with that small key that we got.
You know what's surprising about Leaf's routing is that they didn't do this before Spike Cave.
And now, one thing I hope Leaf remembers is that there's a key on Spectacle Rock.
Oh, that's right. I think they are remembering. Nope, they're going to the... Yeah, there's a bunch of things you can do here. I understand this. You can still get the key, you just have to remember later.
Right, I just think that was the closest you're to the key right now, and it does take a little bit to get back to. Oh, this is the compass to this dungeon! What else do we have over here on the right side of desert? Okay,
Money.
so Leaf's not missing anything over there just yet.
No. Leaf has a very easy way to get there now. I'm not worried about Leaf having desert small. It's actually just when they do Thieves Town, I think is where it was.
It was on Thieves Town Boss. It was on Blind.
Kind of surprised there's nothing here because we had all the logical keys needed for Thieves Town Boss.
Well, my next question then turns into, what is this crystal? Is it a 5-6? We don't know that answer, but is it a 5-6? Because that could be part of the reason why this seed gave us the tools to complete this dungeon quickly. There's our Swamp Small.
Okay, that's in logic for Leaf, right?
Yep.
Into all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Be leaving behind the big key chest, but who cares? That's a fetch quest.
And according to Blue Link, it is 17-13 in favor of your team.
Well, the good news is the points might not matter. Now, to get here, we had to do a lot of cross keys. It was Ganons Forces were a very strong cross keys team, and it was actually kind of a miracle that we even made it to the pyramid.
I mean, we definitely did take a lead thanks to all those reference races back in the first weeks of this thing. I think when the reference races started to disappear off the schedule is when we started losing any sort of hold on this event. But there's Dark Palace too.
Yep. Okay, so this is good news for the Ganon's Tower Go mode. That we're pretty likely not going to have to search anything inside there except maybe the GT Big Key because
All right, because now we
now
know our entire price set.
we do. It's at still at Castle Tower small is outstanding and could be that you need one more Turtle Rock key.
Yeah, you want to have 3 small.
And this is a situation where you really don't want to open the big key chest without at least setting up a death warp.
Hey, there's one
And
of the keys right there.
there we go.
Kappa having to take those 20 rupees because they still need a little bit of a loan in order to get into pod if they want to go there at some point.
Is this the 50 rupee cave?
Yep, we're visiting the 50 rupee cave.
Oh boy. So I think it's kind of looking like PlasmaKappa might be barking up the wrong tree, but there could still be something in pod. But it's hard to outdo the mitts. Mitts are one of the
Malmo?
most important progression items.
Malmo, we haven't found the boots or the second castle tower key yet.
That's true. The boots are a good mobility, but I don't think they are opening as much of the game as the mitts are. And I think with Leaf collecting a few pod keys here and there might have an advantage even going into pod and having more to do here.
Right, it's just more of the barking up the wrong tree, because that's the only tree I can think of right now.
I would consider boots a consolation prize at best.
Really? I think half this community considers boots as the winning prize.
Yeah, in this situation, I think. You find the boots in pod and then you have to get the mitts anyway. It's like, okay, well, you can get the mitts a little faster, but you still did all of this kiki walking and kiki hopping. So Leaf it looks like stealing the key, which is wise and
I love the fairy. I love the fairy that came over to Kappa while waiting for Kiki to open up the gate.
I think what Leaf is thinking is Mimic Cave.
Yeah.
That's illogic. So you don't need a key. Once you're past Chain Chomps, you don't need a key to get here. You need the mirror and the hammer.
Yeah, which we do have, and we also do have the big key as well.
Well, Leaf can get all the way to Laser Bridge. One thing Leaf cannot do, though, is mirror out of TR to get the small key that's on Spectacle Rock. So they're going to probably never get that, or at least not for a while. Oh, okay. Every medallion has been seen now.
That's a very fancy ether location. We don't know if we need it or not, but at least it's good to know. We do know we do need to do Mire before we go into Ganon's Tower.
Well, we have our pendant info, but I think it's possible that Leaf doesn't know about Thieves Town yet.
Right. I don't think Leaf has been... Yeah, Leaf has not been to Hype Cave yet. So it doesn't know that Thieves Town is the other pendant.
Yeah, chat pointing out that French vanilla small key in Laser Bridge would also be a huge find for Leaf, because that would make 2 French vanilla keys, or just vanilla keys. And that would be kind of hard to commit to a play like this when you're short on keys, so you'd be rewarded for finding them early, even if you do have to double dip the dungeon. That said, I think if Plasma were to go in here with an additional key, then he could actually kill Trinex, and that would be an even bigger deal for him. So that is one advantage.
Speaking of Kappa, Kappa is heading for the Castle? 2 checks possible in Castle Tower.
Yeah, speaking of places where a French vanilla key or a vanilla key would be a big deal. Okay, Leaf. No. Okay. Use Burna,
Let's
please.
use the burner. Yep, there we go.
Yep. Okay. Not worth. It's not worth dying here. Okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And that's everything that Leaf can do. We are not going to go grab that key just yet. Kappa gets a piece of heart, which not necessarily what you want to see. I haven't been to Hype Cave yet, so we're gonna dodge the duck and we're gonna head there now. Is what Leaf just did. Big key to Hera.
Oh, potential
Okay,
additional item for PlasmaKappa when he goes up there.
and he's going there now. He's going there now. Yep.
So for Kappa, I expect this to be Hera first, followed by the small key on Spectacle Rock,
And
followed
then
by
Spike
Spike
Cave.
Cave, and then save and quit and do maybe Hookshot Cave or Mire Shed. Meanwhile, Leaf is catching up on what PlasmaKappa has done. Somehow is like infinitely richer. So can just go to pod whenever they want. But I think they have other things that they might want to do. The mitts are much easier access to Village of Outcasts than the hammer and glove. Plus, they can do Smith Chain.
And now Leaf knows the full price pack here.
Yep, Ice Palace is a red crystal. It's also available.
He's gonna find out what the other one was. Ice Palace, Swamp Palace. Okay.
All available. Ooh, so you do them in that order, and then you do Pyramid Fairy after. PlasmaKappa will lose time having the Master Sword at Ether Tablet. Oh, this is a nice Palace play for Leaf. Without the big
'Cause
key.
at this point in time, Leaf, with our current tricks and rules, can beat this. Can get this pyramid bomb. And we'll probably make that play to head over towards Eastern and Pod later on. There's the mirror. So the big key, the big chest, is now what I'm going to be worried about when it comes to what Kappa finds here that Leaf's not going to get for a long, long time. What do we get inside this big chest? Okay, it's the Hyrule Castle Small.
Whole lot of nothing. It was almost a castle small, which would have
It-
been a big deal, but it wasn't.
Yeah,
That
it was
key
this
does
close
that
to
key
being
does nothing
important.
for us. It puts the nothing we found in Hyrule Castle in logic.
The nothing?
There was nothing there, right?
Yeah, there was nothing there. Icebreaker for a Leaf.
Did Leaf get the switch?
I did not pay attention.
No, I think they need it if they don't have the big key.
Honestly, I think they. Yeah. Also struggling with Icebreaker right now.
There we go.
Oh, he did get the switch.
Okay, they got the switch. Good.
Yeah, I just confirmed it by watching the replay. Leaf, they did get the switch, so they're good.
And small key to pod on Spectacle Rock.
Sword upgrade, that's nice.
Very nice for Leaf for having not very much in the way of weaponry for Cold Stare.
Yeah, you are not going to disagree with finding a sword in Ice Palace when you're on Fighter.
The Master Sword is a big deal because you can swap puffs out of the way when you're in trouble. With the Fighter Sword, you can't do that.
Yeah, you
They're
have to
pretty
spin.
defenseless. Okay. Plasma, very expressive today. Probably always, actually. It's hard to know how they feel about those mitts, but
They're always asking for help.
yep, send help. That's their comment in every race.
Once in a while, if they win a race, they'll put help received. Ice Palace here for Kappa.
Nice palace with one additional item in it compared to what Leaf can get.
Neither of these runners are in go mode. We're still quite a ways away from go mode. We need another castle tower key. We do need big keys to pod as well as to ice. Well, not ice. Mire.
Probably
And
why
we
they
also
haven't
need.
been there yet is that nobody wants to go to Meyer without the big key. Or even any small keys. I mean, you say like 30 to 40 seconds just having one small key going into Meyer.
And there's still a possibility we need the boots for something. Like that powder that's sitting in the lumberjack that we mentioned about 55 minutes ago now. One thing that Kappa's going to have the advantage over Leaf over, well, two things. They're going to get Tempered Sword in just a moment. And secondly, they're going to have Bombo so they can use Fire Rod shots on this Cold Stare.
He also has the half magic. He is infinitely better weaponry for this. Leaf has a red potion though, so probably won't die, but it will take longer.
Yeah, Leaf had a red potion. Just use it right now to stay alive. You do not want to die in this situation. All right, there's
Manages
that
to
fight
take
is done.
no damage after the red meal. And there's another
Oh!
sword. Okay, all four swords are seen.
So those who are hoping for the always swamp sword meme, it's dead. Oh, right. Arya Stark reminding us that there's that big key that's sitting there on Bumper Ledge.
Well, still don't have the cape, but the cape is something you'll be looking out for, and you have to remember that. I also remember there being a small key on the library, right?
That is right.
So that could be a required boots check. Could be the castle tower key. Or at least a sign that boots will happen. Okay, that's Quake, so the Ether and Mimic Cave did not matter.
There's another pod small. And I'll be honest, I am surprised that Leaf did not go into Swamp, given the fact that the Swamp Small was in Hookshot.
Big chest device, nothing. Just a
Yeah,
bottle with a B.
so far Leaf has not been penalized for doing these dungeons without the big key.
Now, Leaf has been very much dodging some potential heartaches in the
Oh,
seed.
yeah.
We'll
And
see how
there's
long that luck lasts, but it's kind of looking like as long as they don't get put in a position where they're having to go back in and check these things.
yeah.
They are saving time.
And Leaf is about to get to the village of Outcast. We'll see the big key just outside of the doorstep.
And potentially Smith chain play.
Yeah, I think in this situation you would do the Red Smith chain while you're here. Entering chat logically, the big keys to Skull and Swamp you won't need, but thanks to sequence breakings, Ice, Hera, you can get away without the big keys too. and Cold Stare goes down in an instant for Kappa, gets the sword. And that is dungeon number 6 for PlasmaKappa. Leaf sitting at 4 so far. Working on number 5 right now. So if you're Kappa, where are you going?
I think there's some more Mitch things to clean up, but it looks
Red
like
Smith Chain, yep.
this is going to be Smith Chain.
Since we go ahead, I'm sorry.
I'm just surprised that Kappa hasn't been to the Death Mountain with those mitts yet.
Agreed.
I think it's a pretty obvious one, but maybe he's just holding out for another Turtle Rock key. So he knows that he can do all of it when he's there, instead of hoping that there's one on the way. Which there is. He can actually kill Trinex when he goes there, but no, he doesn't know that.
I just realized what Leaf did.
But,
this is going to be sorrowful.
Oh, did Front of Thieves first.
He did the Front of Thieves, now he got the big key, now he's going to go back in. Or they're going to go back
mildly annoying.
It's excruciating at this point, because here's the walk of shame. It's not a huge time loss, but it is a time loss. Small key. This small key belongs to Turtle Rock. There's TR3. So I guess what I was about to say is, now that we passed the hour mark, be sure to give our runners a follow. Both PlasmaKappa and Windblown Leaf. Interesting. And also a big thank you to Arya Stark also for being on the tracking duty for this race. Melmo, it's the final day of the War for Hyrule.
Sure is. And I smell victory in the air.
Keep gloating. Just keep gloating. I'm sure you'll remind me of it when we're in Virginia coming up here in October.
No, I'll be knee deep in the NMG SG Live tournament, getting my butt kicked in a category I don't run.
In that case, I will make sure that I remind you of something.
Probably getting my butt kicked in the No Logic tournament.
As long as you're having fun.
Yes.
What did we just pick up from the purple
50,
chest? Oh, just 50 rupees. Okay.
Something inconsequential. Well, okay, Kappa has been dirt poor for long enough that it's only just now inconsequential.
Yeah, now it just needs a 7 rupee loan in order to get a blue potion. Never mind their silvers.
Remember when we were worried about the big chest of thieves and like, oh, Leaf's not going to get that? Well, Leaf just got it.
Yeah, because of the way that they routed things here, avoiding the village of outcasts. Because I thought, honestly, that Leaf was going to go and do thieves in, well, the village of outcast after doing Skull Woods, but
I understand.
The way that Leaf routed things after doing Skull, getting locked in because of 0 keys, actually was beneficial.
Now, Kappa is going to do Turtle Rock and actually have all 4 keys and be able to open that big key chest. So there's another chance for Plasma to gain a 1-up on Leaf. And also kill Trinex in that trip, so that's just more efficient.
Yeah, only 1 trip versus Leaf's 2.
I mean, this would be exactly why Kappa has avoided going up here in the first place, I think. Just not wanting to be put in that situation that Leaf was in.
Yeah, at some point in time, you have to bite the bullet, but sometimes waiting to do things can allow you to be more efficient. Which, I mean, again, we've talked about that here with the way this mode works. They who are most efficient are the most successful.
Now, did Leaf do Hype Cave but not do these checks? They must have just done Hype Cave.
I think the way that Leaf went was went over towards. No, they didn't.
No, they
No,
went to
they
Ice
swam over
Palace.
to they
Yeah.
went over to the island and then into ice. Yeah.
This is likely to be, it's going to be like escort the Smith and the purple chest, get Cave 45 on the way, and then end it at Swamp Palace, get that second red crystal, and then do Pyramid Fairy. It's a very nice route for Leaf.
Right.
Maybe
Because we
even.
know that is the part of the 5-6 combo. Kappa doesn't.
Mm-hmm. What would be really nice for Leaf is if they could, like, also go to Pod after, and maybe the Pod Big Key will show up before then. And then they could, like, mirror and do Easter and turn in that green pendant and so on. Be potential to get a lot done on this route.
So there's TR4 for Kappa. There's TR4 for Leaf.
Nice sinking.
And that also means that Leaf will not forego the big key chest, if not in go mode by the time he returns up there. We know what the desire is to make TR as crystal number 7, so you can do it when you head over to GT, but sometimes game does just not want to provide you with the resources to do that.
Well, very soon about to see a couple checks that we didn't see. I don't think we saw 45 from PlasmaKappa. Am I right about that?
I was just thinking that. Like,
We,
I was just sitting there going, did Kappa get any chance to get in here? And I don't think so.
oh,
It's just 20.
And then there's this one for Kappa is something Leaf didn't get. But we'll be able to on the way back in, at least. So it won't be like a last location. It would just be inefficient. Oh, it's the big key of
Key to GT, we need it.
fine, actually. Leaf will just do TR last and get that on the way.
Hopefully.
Best case scenario for a required item in there for Leaf. The only, yeah, I mean, I don't see that really hurting Leaf at all because TR is always going to be done before GT.
The only question is, what does Trinex drop?
Yeah. That could be annoying because then Leaf would have to, like, that's annoying for both of them, though. It's like Leaf would have to go back, but so would PlasmaKappa.
Yeah, it's not that kind of situation where, oh my gosh, it's going to be absolutely horrible for one runner versus the other. It's just annoying to the sense that you know that a lot of runners like to make TR their last destination. I mean, obviously it's a pendant here. I haven't forgotten about that fact.
We know that pet is nothing, so the fact that it's a pendant is actually not a big deal for Leaf either. It's still going to be done before GT.
Yep.
It's just on the way. Literally no reason to go back for it unless you feel like you need to go back early because you think something is on Trinex or because something is on Trinex.
And you know what that does, Melmo?
Hmm.
If we find CT2, that means there will be nothing we have to dig for in GT.
Correct. Turtle Rock Small was the one thing that was potentially a problem, but now it's not. It's just that CT small, but CT small
Yep.
could very well be there at this point,
Yep.
as it tends to be.
Mm-hmm. But that is the only outlier at this point, as Leaf is going into Swamp Palace, as we have kind of predicted.
I think Leaf will just have to accept that the small key of swamp is not that. Sorry, the big key of swamp is not in that chest. It's actually the big key of skull. A little annoying, but that's okay. I think you can expect
Right.
people to
So that
not get that.
means we are down to the pod, skull, pod, swamp, and mire as far as big keys that could be right there on the bumper ledge.
That's true. Bumper ledge, but we still don't have the cape.
That's right.
Okay, one more check for plasma. That could be progression. Let's try and exit self. And it puts plasma at another dungeon advantage over Leaf. So Leaf is behind on Eastern and TR.
Yeah, it's going to be 6-5 right now with Leaf working on Swamp versus Kappa, who, after doing this, will get the Swamp small. You do not leave this mountain without checking the Hookshot Cave.
Oh, that's right. So Kappa went in here first, knowing that he was always going to kill Trinex on this trip.
It's just that TR4 came along the path, and that made it instant that they were going to open up the big key chest.
Interestingly, Leaf not doing left side first. I know the Specky Clip meta is to do it last.
Oh,
but
big
hang on.
key! Meyer!
Meyer.
So we do have to do this prior to GT.
Yeah, we do. Oh, that's annoying. That's bad for Leaf. I think Leaf will try and hold out to do that before GT and not be able to. Very likely that Leaf will actually go into Meyer first, just looking for it. Save that extra mountain trip. Oh, the boots are in Swamp. Okay. Well, at least you have those. That is not a dash Leaf. I know you're excited, but... Okay, what do you do with the boots? You run everywhere. I mean, you still do the things you were doing before. But you probably do Bonk Rocks, King's Tomb.
You remember that there's a key in the library.
There's a key in the library. Okay, so in what order do you do things? You do the library, and then maybe you just like run up to Skullwood's big chest, and then Bonk Rocks and King's Tomb? Or you wait until you have the cape to do all of that, so you can also get the big key of either Swamp or Pod.
And you hope it's Pod at this point, because that would be go mode.
It would be go mode for PlasmaKappa. But Leaf has 2 big keys to collect inside Turtle Rock. So unless they just decide to just do Turtle Rock, because it's a dungeon that they can do with 2 items in it, they will not.
Here we go. The Meyer play for Kappa.
Kappa is still at that Meyer small key disadvantage. You really want 1 when you go in here. It saves a ton of time.
Neither runner has found one. That is weird. So we get to do Specky a second time.
Okay, I understand why Leaf is getting this second, is because maybe they were hoping the big chest of Swamp would turn up. In the back of Swamp.
Right.
No, we have not
Obviously,
seen. We have not seen the pyramid. That will be next for Leaf. What happened to Plasma?
I think he was setting up the what is it called?
It's spooky.
The spooky. Thank you.
I guess it was maybe faster to flute out of flute out of Checkerboard Cave back to Flute 6 than to go back into that portal.
All right, for those of you who did not get to see the War for Hyrule race earlier today, this was the left side swamp that turned out to be essential. And it's
Oh,
essential
it
again
is!
here!
Okay, Castle Tower small, no GT clearing required at all. And that pod is, 5 keys available to search pod for probably the cape leading to the pod big key.
So you know there's going to be sadness for some runners out there when they choose not to do left side swamp yet again.
Is it normal to skip left side swamp in keys?
I hope not, but we did see some runners opt to do that, and I think we heard about some who chose not to do that in the influ keys earlier, which turned out to be painful.
Castle Tower is probably the worst case scenario for skipping left side swamp. I mean, it is a true ice rod hunt.
It is.
The only thing it's locking at this point is the magic bat, which you've probably already checked at this point. Leave.
And there's a small key to Hera. Nice, lovely place for that. As we welcome in our audience coming in here via raids. Thank you very much for joining us here on the final War for Hyrule race. Adirondack Rick and Super Malmo World joining you for this fun race. And we just found the other Castle Tower key inside of Swamp Palace.
Oh, question. You have 2 Castle Tower keys and you're here on the pyramid. Do you do it now? Because you can check 2 things on the way. Or do you do it later because you're double dipping CT, but you're also doing it last and not dealing with the pyramid save and quit?
I think the answer here is yes.
You just do it.
You see what these 2 items are. Perhaps it's the pod big key. We know it's not. But in Leaf's mind, it could very well be.
And you don't mirror out of Dark Maze, right? You do all of it.
No, while you're in here, you might as well just finish it. Like, it doesn't take that long to defeat the ball and chain guards on the sword that these runners have, but... Oh, no, we do! Never mind!
Okay, you mirror out, because you know that having a save and quit point at the pyramid is obnoxious. I understand. Okay. Has Meyer been empty? I mean, I know we're just looking for the pod big key, but still.
Yes, Meyer has been extremely empty at this point.
No drawback to a pyramid save and quit point now, is there? Well, after pod, you want to save and quit to the mountain so you can get back to Turtle Rock, right? Oh no, you're going to go to Eastern. Leaf hasn't done that yet. Leaf has a green pendant to turn in.
Yeah, that's something neither runner has turned in. So if this is the pod big key, that means we, as we know it, are in go mode. Obviously, Leaf still needs to get the big keys, but it just turns out to be 50 rupees.
Yeah, it's very close to go mode. Leaf is going to have to swallow their pride and go back to TR to get the Meyer big key. So there's a required extra mountain climb. Plasma will have to go to Swamp, and Leaf had mirror iframes and didn't pick up the monkey.
Right.
It's not.
Because Leaf hasn't been there yet.
That's not what we mean when we say Kiki skip. Oh, you wanna cancel your dash there to get Kiki to catch up to you faster.
There's
Oh,
our
the
cape.
cape. Why are we excited
Our-
about the cape?
Well, because there's a big key on Bumper Ledge, which Kappa knows about. And at this point in time, we're down to 2 possibilities of what that big key can be. Melmo?
Well, it could be the Pod Big Key, or it could be the Swamp Palace Big Key, with the Pod Big Key being in the Swamp Palace Big Chest.
Oh! You take that back. All right, get your guesses in chat. Is this the Pod Big Key? Is this the Swamp Big Key? Will we be in no mode?
Why are we here? Oh, this surely this isn't the fastest way to Bumper, right?
I didn't think so.
I thought maybe PlasmaKappa had the big key of Skull, but that was in Swamp.
Yeah, it was in the first chest. Answering chat, the footwear is in Swamp, and Kappa just recently, like in the last 10 minutes, picked up the Swamp Small. All right, here we go. This is the big key to no
Odd.
mode.
So, yep, there it is. It's just a
Now,
matter of...
Kappa still needs to get to left side Swamp.
Yeah, left side Swamp, and then Leaf just needs to go to TR and follow the breadcrumbs. I mean, it is pure breadcrumbs from there, but they do need to go. Now, if Leaf didn't go to TR, where would they go? I think there's actually not that much left that Leaf can do besides Mire. I think, given the choice between Mire and TR, you just do TR, right? It's a dungeon that you have to do, and you know you can do it. And the cost is a mountain climb. The one thing that could distract Leaf is some of that North Darkworld stuff that got opened up by having the boots and the big key of Skull.
As the Leaf returns back into Eastern, but that was by oops right there. All right, so all eyes will be on Kappa here, because this actually could turn into be happiness or sadness for Kappa. Because that Pod Big Key does open up GT.
Well, one unfortunate thing for Leaf is that we know that Pod is actually empty. The Mire key is nice.
Small.
At least it's a 30 to 40 seconds time save in Mire. And we know that Leaf will probably... Well, okay. Leaf will be one item from Go mode. Very likely that they'll just Gone Mire and hope that it's there. Now the question is, do you follow the cape? You find the cape, right, on Vitreous. You don't find the big key of Pod, but you know that there is a big key on Bumper Ledge, and it's a 50-50. Do you leave Mire and check that, or do you go back in?
Well, here's the question. Does Leaf know of that big key there?
I have no idea.
I don't think Leaf does.
I don't think they know. Oh, you're right. So actually what Leaf needs to do then is do those checks with the boots, because that's how you find out. You do your Skullwood's big key, and then you walk out and check Bumper Ledge, and then you mirror and do Bonk Rocks and King's Tomb. Leaf actually kind of needs to do that.
Kappa is gonna go straight to Argus. That's not a problem.
Yeah, that's fine.
As long as Kappa goes back in, just like Leaf did.
Yeah, this is the thing, right? Is you think like, well, the Swamp Big Key might be back here, so I should do this first, and
or
I know I
find
have
it
to
on
do
my
this
way there.
anyway. And the checks that are here are very easy to do. You don't lose that much time going back into Swamp with Specky Clip.
Or I'll find it on my way here to Argus.
Oh, that's a good point. So someone is, Zaravian's pointing out that like GT is just a full bunch of stuff
Yep.
that could be Castle Tower small for Kappa. Maybe
Yep.
he just does that instead. But oh my
That
gosh,
is
I don't know what I would choose. I would probably do Swamp.
That's why the next minute and
Yeah.
a quarter is going to be very critical for Kappa.
Nice select buff for hammer jumps. You don't see those very often.
Yeah, a lot of people do select, or not select, swap, start, whatever that other button is.
Yeah, the menu hammer jump in the speed run, you do that because you have to menu there anyway. But selecting is faster. Oh, there's the red mail.
All
Okay,
right,
we're outta
so
here.
Kappa, here we go. What do you do?
Do you win or do you lose?
The fate of Hyrule Guard may be resting on you. We are leaving. Oh no, we are leaving.
Well, I would say we have a race, but I think, Leaf is just going to do the thing I said, which is all this like North Dark World stuff. Find out about the cape, which they're gonna be like, oh, there's a big key there. I don't have the cape yet, I don't care. So it doesn't actually change anything for Leaf yet, but it is a very important piece of knowledge.
Here in the library.
That is a good point, is that there's a key that you know about versus going back in for two unknowns in Left Side Swamp. It's kind of that thing I was saying about, like, do you leave Meyer after finding the cape? It's the same idea. It's not a 50-50, but it is definitely at least a key. This is probably going to be Pyramid Fairy and not Left Side Swamp for Kappa.
Yeah. Because your next stop after this is Pod. It's a beatable dungeon.
It's a very toxic pedestal area for not actually being a toxic item there.
What would be toxic there?
Well, I mean, we know what's what, right? I think actually pedestal is something you want. And toxic would be probably like a fetch quest.
So, mushroom.
Yeah, we've seen them all at this point.
Yeah.
It would be the big key of swamp.
Nice dupe for
Okay,
Kappa.
here we go. So there's very important knowledge for Leaf, which might lead them to God mode or God route Meyer. Oh, there's a key. Oh, what a tease! Oh, look at the phantom door from the bomb. I always love to see that.
Yeah, the dashing there. The spin speed.
Oh yeah, I forgot about this too. It's Graveyard Ledge. It's also available. So is Catfish. Oh, Leaf's gonna do Catfish, aren't they? I mean, I guess you kind of have to.
I can understand it here at this point.
You do Catfish and then you swallow your pride and go to the mountain and get your big keys.
Yeah.
Follow the breadcrumbs.
Although we are...
Bonk Rocks wasn't done, apparently.
Okay.
Maybe it's not Catfish.
As far as Leaf is concerned, there's only one small key that they may be looking for. As we now have seen all three of the Meyer smalls now.
Kappa's gonna find that and get teased again. Another small key. Okay, yeah, this is Return to Catfish. I think this is just kind of we forgot. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe it's good to do it this way.
Yeah, I think because for Leaf, as far as Leaf is concerned, there's only 2 items remaining in Turtle Rock. And now you know the pedestal is not, and so that deprioritizes. But little does Leaf know that the 2 keys that are inside are the 2 that they need.
Yeah, but TR is a required dungeon. It's the cost isn't doing TR. The cost is doing an extra mountain climb, knowing
Yep.
that you do have to do Meyer. And if Meyer Big Key is here, you can save all that time by doing these first. So I understand this choice. And also, it was really good that Leaf didn't come in with 2 keys, because then they would have skipped the GT Big Key. And that would be very bad. There are other people in this race. There are, what is it, 30?
30.
Yeah, 30 entrants. I think at least one person will get got by that. They'll
Oh,
walk into
Leaf is
Turtle
going
Rock with
to
2
Meyer.
keys, and then they'll get. Oh, we're going to Meyer. That's not good.
Yep. I get it, but it's not going to pay out.
Yeah, this is hard committing to trying to single dip the mountain, which I understand.
Mm-hmm. Because again, for Leaf, it's I have 2 items remaining. What are the chances that those 2 are what I need to beat this game? Because you played this. You played this a lot of times, Malmo, in various modes. It could very well just be 10 arrows that you're chasing after.
Oh, they have not been here yet. Interesting. I guess this
Oh,
makes
right.
the Meyer play a little more appealing. They also
Right,
haven't done checker.
because Leaf did blind after doing desert.
Yeah, maybe we're not doing. We'll see. I think we are, though.
I don't think so if you're setting your portal there.
You're going back in.
All right, Kappa is heading to GT where we know the answer won't be there. Well, we're going to the back first. That's right. At this point, it becomes the tale of who gets forced into what they need to do first.
Well, PlasmaKappa has all of Ganon's tower to search. I actually give the advantage to Leaf here, even though they have more to get done. The cost of getting 27 items in GT versus just climbing is pretty big.
And we have 3 keys, so the entire tower's in play.
And, while Leaf will also have to do that, extra mountain climb, which was required, is Plasma will have to do GT and then have to return to the castle to do Castle Tower, so it's going to be very inefficient.
This seed has been moving along quite fast. And we're not going to check the results of the race until we get a winner here on the restream. But I would not be surprised if somebody right orders this here in this 30-person race and is in a low 130. And I don't know the results of this race. I don't even have the page pulled up, and again, we're not going to say it here on the air until we get a winner here amongst these 2, but
I think there's probably a way to right order this seed. Unfortunately, both runners have found different ways to wrong order it. Well, maybe that Hierarchy will make Leaf think of Mountain.
that was the only small key that Leaf would really care about, honestly. Leaf cares nothing about the small keys at this point.
That's true. Also, the thing that would have been good for Leaf to find, funny enough, is the big key of Swamp. But it doesn't matter. But it would have at least made it so that they know that any remaining big keys are required. So that when they do eventually get that cape, they would know where to go. But I don't think that matters because Leaf still has 2 more other big keys to get before even getting that cape.
Yep, and now we are forced out of here. And at this point, unless you're chasing those smalls, you're going to flute to 1, and you're going to defeat Turtle Rock. And here we go. Or we are going to go into Hera basement first. Oh, right, the big chest too.
Oh,
forgot-
speaking of wrong ordering things, oh no. I don't think this was ever like I don't think you can get an advantage from doing this first. Because no matter what you're doing, you're always doing all of TR.
Yeah,
So
and
you might as well do
I
that
agree
first.
with you on this one.
That said, I
I-
think Leaf would have done TR and then gone to Hera after, so it doesn't really matter that they're doing it in this order. Simply because TR is not actually going to be Go mode. Maybe they know that. Maybe they know that there are 3 items missing and that they need 2. Then they can only get 2 in TR. I think Plasma has to do the North Dark World stuff with the boots and Catfish.
North Dark World stuff of the Bonk Rocks into Catfish into that's part of it. I think that's it really. There's our Swamp Big.
Leaf must have been resisting the urge to clip through that wall to get around the dead rocks.
Shoutouts to the No Logic tournament. Which, by the way, we do have matches coming up here this evening. One that begins in, what, 15 minutes?
Yep. That will be probably crewed by me when this is over. I might be a little bit late to it. But it will be on SpeedGaming 3, followed by 1 hour later, actually, Leaf and Doomtap will be racing, so this is not Leaf's only game today. If you want to see more of Leaf, then you will tune into SpeedGaming Prime for that race at 8 p.m. Eastern.
And I don't know why you wouldn't want to. Small kid of this dungeon. Thank you, game. Because I will state that you do put together a good tournament over there with the glitch crew. I may not necessarily always understand all that's going on over there with the glitched tournaments, but your crew does a good job.
Yeah, it's all in the community. The glitch community is very enthusiastic and very dedicated to putting on restreams because we really like to show off. I think that's just what it comes down to. We're big show-offs and big nerds.
I mean, you're talking about pretty much everybody here, regardless of whether or not they're in the community or not, with that nerd statement. I mean, why would we be here if we're not? So yeah, that's the No Logic tournament coming up here. But we still have a little bit more to figure out for this war for Hyrule. Melmo, you've been mentioning about how it feels like a sweet victory for your team.
Well, I think it will feel better to win on taking the territory rather than just points. It does look like it might head that way in this one, but it's hard to know. I don't want to be spoiling the race room. I'm not even watching the race room, but we are at a numbers advantage in this race.
Yeah, and I mean, again, it's been fun, and we were kind of just talking about this earlier, and I think now is the time we can actually get that little bit of that discussion as we're waiting for these two runners to get into their go modes collectively. Kappa does need to go to left side swamp, get the castle tower 2, and Leaf is going to need to go do Meyer once he's done with this, and then go and get the cave, which will lead to the pod big. He knows the big. They know the big keys there, so that's going to be coming up here in just a little bit. Malmo, what was your favorite mode in this?
Well, I'm a little biased because boss hunt is my mode. However, I, also really like cross keys. It was my first love. If we do this event again, I'm going to push for a mode called cross hunt, which is both at once. I think it's a very good way to play cross keys where you don't necessarily have to do every dungeon or a specific number of crystals. You just do a specific number of dungeons instead and don't have to worry about that last item hunt where you get the mitts and you have to find the big key of Meyer to be in go mode and it's your like second to last location. You can just get a different one. So I'm gonna cop out and say it's a combination of two modes. That is my favorite.
I feel like you're speaking to me. Now, I guess I do want to ask, how did you come up with the boss hunt mode?
It started with hybrid major glitches, where there's a lot of ways you can break into dungeons and not actually be in the correct dungeon. Putting Triforce pieces on the bosses made it so that you could just do that and not worry about your dungeon ID. Made it a little bit more fun to play fast and loose with dungeon states. And then just for fun, I decided to make it in no glitches and let War for Hyrule be my guinea pig, and it turns out to be a pretty fun mode. People liked Boss Hunt.
It definitely did get a good exposure with a good amount of racers thanks to this event, so kudos to Lumaga for putting that in.
What was your favorite mode?
So, I obviously do enjoy the Retrance modes. Honestly, if I was to say a mode, because and this is using everything into consideration, I think Open 7.6 was interesting.
Yeah, Open 7.6 had a similar like illusion of choice type where you may or may not be able to choose which of your last dungeons to do. Open 7.6 is nice and breezy because you almost never have to do Ganon's Tower.
Right, because it has that fast Ganon attached to it, and you almost never need to touch it for any sort of items, period, unless you're in that great sword hunt, which can always get interesting, but honestly, I think that was probably one of the ones that I did enjoy better than some of the others. Some of them were my own personal struggles, which, I mean, that shouldn't take away from the mode. That's just the way I played, but I definitely did get to enjoy that. Also, I enjoyed getting to do Enemizer.
I surprisingly had fun with those. I not usually consider myself at an advantage, but I think two of my better performances were in the Enemizer bosses mode. My favorite being one where it was a hover seed. I don't hover. I had to climb GT hoping Moldorm was there, and he was. And that was one of the big moments.
Oh, the Moldorm bounce.
The
yes.
Moldorm bounce seed. You had to have faith. You had to believe.
And you believed.
I believed. Turns out the hookshot was kind of on path. So if you don't hover or bounce or believe, you can still be fine.
And there's a cape for Leaf.
Yeah, I
So
imagine they'll be following that.
where was the hookshot on that seed?
It was like Meyer left side or something. So like, I just go mode with Meyer. Like, I don't want to do this. I'm just gonna go up GT.
Right, I think I remember that. It was in the Meyer big key chest.
Think it would
So
have
cutscene, anyone?
cutscene, yeah. We got. Speaking of cutscenes, we got Catfish for PlasmaKappa.
And Leaf is about to be in go mode.
Yep, this is I think last location for Leaf too. So it's just a pretty cut and dry decision to go here. And
Well, it's a big key.
It's a big key. There's only one other in the game, and it's probably in GT. Otherwise, it's the big key, and you need to go to Swamp to get the big key of Pod. Now, Leaf still needs to go to Pod to kill Helmasaur, go to GT, kill GT, Aga 2. Meanwhile, PlasmaKappa, look where they're going. He's going to the portal, which I think means Swamp Palace.
Yeah, I think getting that big key helps it make Swamp a little more incentivized.
Oh, I think this is his last location, too. I don't think there's anything left.
I don't think he did Bonk or King's Tomb, so it's not necessarily last, but it's close.
Did he really just do Catfish by himself?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I kind of fell asleep and assumed that he had done all of it on the way to Catfish, but I guess not.
Melmo, wake up. And there's go mode for Leaf. And the nice thing here about PlasmaKappa, once they are done doing this, they're just going to get out of here and go right back to the pyramid, and Ganon's waiting for him to drop in. So I think as far as the race is concerned, Kappa's got it.
Yes.
Leaf's not that far behind, but it is going to be Kappa first.
It does seem like Leaf missing the big keys of Meyer and Pod means that they just had to do a lot more cleanup after go mode than PlasmaKappa did. Kappa just has to go climb Aga Tower. So does Leaf.
Right. So I will say that it's definitely been a fun event, and I know you mentioned earlier that you had fun with this event as well. I know there's a lot of people who got to enjoy the bigger races there. Some of them as many as 50 people big.
I think I saw a 60-person race in the early days. I think maybe the first Cross Keys race was 60.
Yeah, which was absolutely phenomenal. And I know Lumaga, back when he was piecing all of this together, that was one of his biggest hopes, was to bring back the old large races that used to happen. Like, those people who've been in the community for 5-6 years remember back when the weekly races, the open and the casual weeklies, all had like 50, 60 people. There's the Castle Tower for Kappa. That's go mode. And that was kind of what Lumaga was hoping for. And I got to give a lot of credit to Lumaga for coming up with this, because I would have never have even thought of this.
Yeah, we also have to give credit to the Final Fantasy VI. I think that's what it was. The Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide for coming up with the original concept that Lumaga ported over to Link to the Past.
Yeah, I was about to point out that the fact that Lumaga didn't come up with this all on his own. He had a little bit of help and morphed it over by way of that. And we do definitely got to give a big shout outs to Lumaga. So can we get some love and chat for Lumaga, who's unfortunately not here to join us for this final race, because he's doing various offline stuff with his family, which is
he's watching
1000% understandable.
Watching the Lord of the Rings, the Two Towers. And guess what? We're also about to watch Two Towers as Leaf climbs up to GT after this.
But this event would not be what it was for without the assistance of Lumaga. So we definitely got to give a lot of thanks. I know Lumaga was here yesterday giving out his thanks, and I know he definitely shouted both me and Malmo, and we do want to give Lumaga a lot of love. However, I do want to ask you this, Malmo. We mentioned our favorite modes. What would you say was your least favorite?
I think it's just open. Honestly, 7-7 open. Every time I played that, I would like have trouble getting bombs or rupees for CAC, and it felt like it was just always the same at the beginning.
I played too many entrance modes. I think the one open that I did shortly after like a whole bunch of entrances, I was starting to walk into various places like, oh, that's right, don't go into them. By the way, if you didn't see the influ keys earlier today, which, by the way, that's what I would say is my least favorite, but that's I'm not much of an inverted player. I only did inverted for the last main tournament back last year. But if you didn't see the influ keys, you know what I loved about that race? Hookshot was vanilla.
Oh no. Was it hover seed or was it required?
Well, you had to go deeper in to get your go mode big key.
Okay, well at least you get it on the way.
Yeah, but it was just absolutely crazy that that hookshot was totally vanilla. All right, Agate 1 for Kappa. GT for Leaf. We're just a few minutes away from getting to the end of this. I think regardless of who wins this war, it's been a successful event. We have the runners, we have the help, and we have Lumaga all to thank. So, yeah, thank you all for being a part of this. I think I've said quite a bit there. Anything you want to add, Melmo?
Yeah, I think if you want to see more of War for Hyrule, give Lumaga your love and show that this is something that you want to see, because that's a big part of making this event in the first place was people were rumbling about wanting to see more big races, and I think people specifically saying they want to see more War for Hyrule is the best way to get more War for Hyrule.
Yeah, keep an eye out too to find out about a potential second running of this. Probably not in the very near future. I know Lumaga's got other projects that they're going to be working on, including I know there's some rumors coming up about the next Mentor tournament.
Yes, that's right. Keep an eye out for Mentor Tournament, because that announcement's going to be happening pretty soon. I don't want to reveal too much, but it's not a big spoiler to say that there will be a Mentor Tournament this summer.
Right. I just know that he posted, or somebody posted, soon TM, and of course we all know what that means. And we all know the Go Mode podcast has worked their butts off to get new people into this game, so big shout-outs to them.
Oh.
Right. Almost
got a nice stylish, but got a good double there. That's not an easy double to get when you
all right, friends.
Move around.
Get your GGs in chat as PlasmaKappa sends out for some help, and it will go across the finish line. Finish time 1:58.06, which will be 11th in this field of 30. Let's go ahead and shout out the other people who wound up finishing already. Skelly is the first person across, 147.58, so not too far behind. Par de Mario was second with a 150.06. Sawyer with a 152.43. Pretty Wrong with a 154.29. Willard J. Bradley fifth with a 155.19. Mind DM 155.31. W. Garrison 156.13. Astro Felipe with a 156.17. Telethar in ninth with a 156.56, and Late Bit with a 157.51. And Kappa, do we need to send help?
Yes, perhaps telling me to fake powder would be a good start. Skipping Spiral Cave. That was just me being lazy.
What was on fake powder?
It was just, there wasn't anything big that Leaf got.
Was it just a little bit of fluff to get a little extra collection rate out of something that was locked behind your Go mode item?
I mean, if I remember to do fake powder, and it's the 6-pod small. That cuts down my
Oh,
stress
right.
considerably.
Oh, so you have a little bit of, narrowing of the search space. That's pretty
I
nice,
didn't
actually.
think of that. I did not think of that. Yes.
I mean,
That's
yeah.
a lot of narrowing search space, actually, because that eliminates all of Ganon's Tower and like 4 chests in. I mean, 3 realistically, but 4 chests in pod. Yeah, it's a pretty big deal. I didn't even think of
Yeah.
that. That would have mattered for Leaf, except Leaf's Go mode was not the castle tower small. It was
Yeah.
the cape on Meyer. Took a long time to get back to Turtle Rock to get the 2 keys.
Oh, yeah. And you kind of want to delay it, because if you go in with only 2 TR smalls, your life is terrible.
Leaf at least went in with only 1, so had a reason to go back, but kind of just chose not to.
Yeah, thankfully, Leaf, when they returned, they had all 4 by that point, so there was no leaving behind of that GT big key, which I'm sure probably will be an issue for some of the runners in this race as well. Now, I do want to ask you this question, Kappa, because you were one of the iron horses of this. You were in all 40 of these races, right?
No, I missed the first one because I got the time wrong.
39 out of 40. I mean, that's still incredible.
Yeah.
What did you enjoy about this event?
Oh, just the big races. It's kind of set up that if that's all you think about, that's all you have to think about. You don't even have to think about the meta narrative. Just show up and do the big race.
So obviously, because you played in 39 of these races, what was your favorite mode?
Something, usually something entrance. I guess I'll have to toss in open fast Ganon 7.6. I don't like that mode, but I actually did pretty well in most of them.
Did you do well in that awful one?
Yeah.
The one with the ped seed?
Yeah, I won that one somehow.
Nice.
Yeah. I tend to have more fun when I'm doing well, shockingly enough.
We all have been there. I mean, I know you've been in my chat when not fun has been had, but we've all been there. Well, I guess the big question here is, because I don't want to talk at least about the event before we get Leaf across the finish line. What would you say went well for this event?
A nice variety of modes. Consistent time frame, maybe a little too consistent. I mean, you can't please everyone, but yeah, I think it just got a lot of people doing the big races again, which is good. That's how I learned it. So I have a soft spot for big races.
Yeah, you were right there in some of the early days of SRL in those races.
Yeah.
as far as this seed was concerned, any closing thoughts?
Well, Spiral Cave and Hair were just an experience. I thought
Oh,
for
what?
certain I'd just find. Yeah.
That does remind me. I do want to ask, what was your thought process about skipping Spiral Cave? Was that because of earlier happenings?
Oh, yeah, kinda. I mean, I just got the fairy drop from the top of Paradox. I'm like, yeah, I don't really want to go over here. I'm sure Hammer
Yeah,
will show up maybe somewhere else.
and Memo was bringing that up about how things were going to be off as a result of that fairy drop.
Oh, I wasn't sure which fairy it was. It's the middle Moldorm that has to drop it, but how often do you actually pay attention to which Moldorm is dropping what, right? They
Yeah.
move around a lot. But I
It-
understand being like, that's my sign, I should just leave.
Yeah. Believe I can go to pretty much everything else. It's not hard to wrap that back in later, unless it gates the entire seed. Besides, it's like one of the few ways to actually cut some time in ADKeys, the perennial hundo mode. I like those. Wish I'd
Leaf
been.
breezing through stage 3 of this Ganon fight. So the other Iron Horse of your team there with the Hyrule Guard, Dixon finishes in 12th place, 2 hours, 46 minutes. Radical Sniper 13th, 201.23. Vortex of Doom just narrowly behind 201.25. And I believe that's it for Windblown Leaf. Get your GGs in chat.
We'll see what kind of astronomical collection rate we'll see. I think PlasmaKappa, of course, having done GT, will probably have one of the highest collection rates. I expect Leaf to have a pretty high one too. This is a very
So,
hundo-y seed, but that's how ADKeys tends to be. That's why I'm
Yeah.
in the comms booth, to be completely
Exactly.
honest.
So secretly, Sliver was 202, 18, and 15th. Gray Corvid 16th with a 203.42. Iceman was 17th with a 203.56. And then we have Windblown Leaf with a 205.47. GG's.
Hi.
What would you
GG.
like to say to the big key haven known as Turtle Rock?
I have never been so punished for finding the mitts before going to Village of Outcasts in my life. If I did Village of Outcasts before going up the mountain again, because I just saved and quit and did the Spike Cave as a, what do I want to do next? Let me do this thing I can do right now while I think. Because I kind of forgot that I didn't have a small key for the front of Skull Woods, which is why I saved and quit out.
Yep. We figured that was the reason why you had to amend your game plan when you were finished off with Mothula there in Skull Woods.
I mean, I connected in my head that I didn't have the key, but my brain was suddenly like, oh, there's a key in Pinball Room, because, hey, what have we been practicing for elsewhere, Rick?
Let me think. A mode where there's guaranteed to be a key in that room,
Uh-huh.
aka Cross Keys Tournament.
Yeah. Yeah, I forgot about the fact that that's not a consistent thing, and we should really make it consistent somehow.
I mean, you and other people have commented about how they wish that would be the case. But
anyways, other than that, I felt like I wrote the scene pretty well.
yeah, it was just the unfortunate thing for you was putting off Turtle Rock, but what was the chances that Turtle Rock was going to have two of your big keys that you needed and needed to be done before you could go to GT?
I mean, I'll be completely honest, when I pulled Big Key in Lava Chest, one, I was ecstatic because that's a terrible check in this mode. And 2, I was completely caught off guard by it being GT and not one of the 2 to get me into GT. I'll be honest, I thought I was going to find a cape in GT to go get my GT big key.
Oh, that kind of makes sense.
Would have been fine.
Yep, for you.
Yep,
I take it-
instead...
There is
Go
a
ahead.
worse thing that could happen, though, and I'm wondering who it happened to, because I'm sure somebody did this. Is going into TR with 2 keys instead of 1 or 3. So that you do TR and you kill Trinex and don't get the GT big key.
I don't know if that's actually a thing that would happen. Actually, that would be easy to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
have to do
it
is
almost
just-
happened to Plasma. I mean, it almost happened to you, too. It can definitely happen. And that gives you a lot of GT to search for the GT big key.
Yep.
I mean, the reason I say I think it's actually an easy possibility is if one of those TR smalls was on hammer pegs. And with Mitts and
Yep.
Spike,
Yeah, I was specifically doing that, looking for another TR small. Of course, I ended up clearing GT anyways, because...
I was going to say, you skipped left side swamp, didn't you?
Of course I did. Why would I do that?
I decided
Well,
I got
and-
nothing in Swamp Palace and turned around and went back in.
But at least that time you were able to dash.
Yeah, I felt a little bit late to those boots because I actually thought about just doing Swamp before Ice. But I decided I'd do Ice and then combine everything from Village of Outcasts down into Swamp.
You, of the two of you, you were the first one to the boots.
I'm astonished, but okay.
How about Ice Palace being Sword Palace this time around?
Shoutouts to getting 3 swords in 5 minutes.
Yeah. Fun time. I was hoping for... I also delayed my hair revisit quite a long time until I got something that people might not have.
GG's PlasmaKappa. Pleasure to race you as always.
GG's.
So,
Can't help.
Leaf, you were one of the later runners into this event here, but did you have fun?
I mostly joined last week because I was like, oh hey, a retros race, but I have to join the event.
Hi
And
there.
you know my thoughts on the entrance rant, though.
Yep. Give me
And
more.
then today it was like, I missed a cross keys last night because I slept in until 4 p.m. my time. Don't ask. But unfortunately, the cross keys race I was going to join started at 3. So I kind of feel obligated that I have to make up for missing one when I said I was going to make one race this week.
Makes sense. Well, we hope to see you back here if they do more entrance modes coming up here, if Lumaga does a second edition of this War of Hyrule.
And then,
And I think you have something coming up here in 45 minutes you need to get ready for, and I know Malmo needs to get out of here too.
yeah, I was going to say, Malmo, didn't you just say you were going to go commentate?
Yeah, but they're late.
It's my friend who's late again, isn't she?
Yes.
Mara.
GG's.
Yeah.
All right, let's get on out of here. Big thank you very much to PlasmaKappa. We're going to send help your way, and Windblown Leaf will apparently, for some reason, the bot doesn't want to put their name in chat, but we'll get it in chat anyway. Malmo, this has been fun.
Yes. Stay tuned for the scoring because we don't actually know yet. It looks really up in the air who actually wins this race. Even if Hyrule probably takes the points victory, I think it's a little more exciting to see who actually takes the pyramid in this one singular race. But of course, we have to wait for everyone to finish, and we have to wait for Lumaga to get back from watching some very long films to see what becomes of this. So thanks for joining me. I will see you in the No Logic race on SpeedGaming 3 and SpeedGaming Prime.
Absolutely
see
so. All right, let's get on out of here. Big thank you very much to Arya Stark for doing the tracking for this race. For PlasmaKappa for Windblown Leap, be sure to give them a follow. For Super Malmo World, catch her over in the No Logic tournament. And I'm Adirondack Rick saying thank you for joining us here on Speed Gaming. And keep an eye on the Go Mode Podcast Discord server to find out who wins the war for Hyrule.